This has been a rough week.
Listen,
on my body, and not because of training.
it takes me way too long to recover from drinking these days. I told you I was literally winded lifting weights.
Oh man.
And I got really long rests in between the sets.
That's always a kick in the face for someone who's like a cardio athlete when you try to lift something and you're exhausted.
Like this better than this.
This isn't a cardio workout.
And yet I am struggling.
I should be sore, not winded.
After I lifted, I went on a hike at Mount Miguel. And I was with Kat, the dogs.
Nice.
And I was huffing and puffing the whole way. I mean, it's a pretty steep climb, but it's nothing that I haven't done before. And I was like, fuck, am I out of shape?
How is she doing?
She was way slower. She's like, you can slow down. And I'm like, if I stop, I'm not continuing.
You had to stay on your rhythm.
I had to keep the momentum. If I even paused to admire the view at any point on that hike other than the top, it was a done deal.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
Done.
good job. Good job pushing.
I was so mad
through.
at it. I was so mad at her the whole time. I was like, why? I told you how I was feeling and that I just lifted and you want to go do another leg workout.
See,
mad at it.
This is what Jon Jones is talking about. He is enjoying, becoming a more mature athlete who parties occasionally responsibly. But when it comes to young folk, you don't want to have to keep up with them.
No.
Like this guy, how old is thingy? He's like 32. There is a drop off.
I'm just glad he finally said the words.
Yeah.
Because he was alluding to it. He was tap dancing. He was like saying all of the other reasons that he didn't want to fight Aspinal. Other than the fact, the real reason, the root of it. And I get it. I respect it. I get it.
Yeah, he's a young man. He hasn't quite hit that hump where you start to deteriorate.
No, he's young and spry.
Where you start to need longer recovery times from drinking and doing all the things that you do.
The real thing.
As an adult.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, you need longer recovery times for that. So to fight someone who is younger, you always have to be aware of that part. Like, you got to be on your P's and Q's. Jon Jones is going to have to be drinking his green juice, not absinthe.
No, stay away from
something with cucumbers in it.
Lots of spinach and kale.
Yeah, to make sure that he is nice and spry and ready to go if he fights Tom Aspinal, which seems like it's going to happen, right?
They said there's a big announcement, but it sounds like the big announcement was just that they're in negotiations.
So they announced that they're going to announce something one day?
Yeah, one day. There's nothing to announce, though. They're just announcing that there might be in the near future. Just putting that bait out there and reeling us in. And throwing it back. Just kidding. Reel us back in. We'll be talking about this for like months.
Maybe a year, maybe years. I mean, how long did it take for him to fight Stipe? We heard about the Stipe fight months before the Stipe fight got canceled, and now it finally happened. So this could be
by
years
next
in
New
the
Year's
making.
Eve.
Yeah. Maybe, if we're lucky. Maybe by spring 2026. This is when you have like a movie that you're really excited about coming out, and then they have the sequel. And you're like, oh shit, when's the sequel coming out? And it's like summer 2026. You're like, what the fuck? We're not even in 2025 yet.
Yeah, I've been waiting for like the next launch of Peaky Blinders season 6 or the movie, whatever they're doing, for years.
Is that happening?
It's supposed to.
God damn.
They announced that there's, a possibility. Yeah.
And we wait.
And I thought it was already supposed to come out.
I've been waiting for the next season of Severance for forever, too.
I know. I keep looking on my Apple TV waiting for it to say like new episode.
When's that shit happening?
I thought it was supposed to already happen. Maybe it's December.
Goddamn writers, what was it? Writers,
Guild.
Whatever it was called, the thing where they held out, Writers Union thing.
Writers Guild.
Was it Writers Guild?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. But see what I was so convincing.
thing where everyone was protesting because of AI. What was that called? It was called the writers something.
Strike.
Writer strike. Yeah, damn writer strike. That's what Jon Jones is doing. He's holding out until we start begging for our sequel to Jon Jones being a heavyweight champion. And if he holds out long enough, we'll be able to see him fight Tom Aspinall and everyone will be happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. They might just have to make AI do it.
We'll see how it plays out in virtual reality.
I tried to see how it would play out, asking questions on Twitter of what people wanted to see or what people wanted to hear us talk about for this episode, since there were no fights this weekend. And I got a very Twitter response.
Twitter is a dark, dark place. What did they say?
I kind of asked for it, though, because I posted a clip from my Jillian Robinson workout butthole training video.
I'm sure that was received very well.
If you guys haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. But
it
was
like and comment and share it.
Like, comment, share it with all your friends. It wasn't a bet. It was just the part where you and Kat are hitting my butt with a club. And I just posted that because there's a good view of you in it. And I didn't have any recent selfies, so I just posted that. I was like, "Hey, what do you want me and Jess to talk about on this week's Two Straws?" And I got the most Twitter response. This guy goes, "You're a whore and don't deserve your job. Most unprofessional shit from women in your position." And I'm like, "My position?
Your position?
What is my position exactly?" I
wonder where that person was from.
He meant from the bent over position. That's supposed to be doing all those acrobatics from that spot. Like, that's half of an MMA fight right there. Is somebody on all fours rolling around on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the club wasn't involved, but it feels like you're being clubbed.
Yeah, the club was like a vacation compared to what she did to that girl with the elbows.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was horrible.
How else are you supposed to condition that area?
Ooh, so we did get a funny question. Speaking of elbows to the butthole, Tony Montana asked, "Take it in the butt or get elbowed in the butt." Would you rather?
Would I rather? Both can be very unpleasant.
Depending on your partner.
Depending on your partner. Are they a selfish partner? Are they a gentle partner?
Are they bony? Oh, God.
Oh, that's a great question.
I gotta say, I can't honestly answer because I've never been elbowed in the butt.
Nor have I. So there you go.
Sorry. We can't choose. We don't know. But hey, if I get that Jillian Robinson matchup, then I can compare notes and let you know afterwards.
Hook your girl up, Jillian.
Oh my God, that's horrible. You are a whore.
You're a whore because you roll around on the ground.
You're a whore.
And you show your lady parts for 2.5 seconds.
Yes, you're a whore for that.
They should remain facing down to the ground at all times.
Yeah, that position is uncalled for.
Very unladylike.
Oh, man. We got another question that is a little more in the realm of things that we can answer professionally for that Twitter guy. Silver uterine lining.
Wow. Please.
You know what's great? I don't read the names until I start reading the question.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
And then I'm like, oh no. All right. Silver uterine lining asks, "I love Weili, but is she too inactive? Why is number 2 fighting number 3 if Weili already beat number 1? I gotta look at the rankings.
Like, I'm trying to do the math right now.
So I know Suarez is fighting Jandiroba.
Yeah.
Even though Weili already beat girl who fought Ricci. Zhang and Yan. Yeah. So, yes. Okay. We didn't need the rankings. we figured it out.
There. Sorry. When you say numbers, it's like when a boxing coach is holding out and first, somebody says jab cross and now they're saying 1, 2. And it just takes your brain just a second to like recalibrate. Yes. Because we know it.
Or when they start going 1, 3, 7, 5, 2 and you're like, huh? Like, is that my social? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, wait a minute. Please stop. I just need a second. And it doesn't help that you're throwing the mitts at my face and trying to hit me in between the numbers. Just chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Speak English.
Jeez. So we have Tatiana Suarez at number 1, Jan at number 2, Virna at number 3. Well, the thing is, there's a bit of a log jam, and it could just be that Zhang isn't ready to fight. When you're the champion, sometimes, you get to call your shots. You've earned the right. So it could be on her side. It could just be that they're trying to figure out who's next with the matchups and get an exciting one because she's already fought Jan. So I think that they're looking for Tatiana Suarez and Virna to figure out who wins and then pair them up from there.
Yeah, I think so. I think Weili's comfortable with waiting, and I'm sure the UFC doesn't mind her being comfortable waiting since they do have such a log jam with just fighting fighters right now too. Like they have a ton of events, but they also have a huge roster right now. So filling up the cards and still allowing everyone to get their allotted 2 or 3 fights a year is been, something that requires effort. Yeah. So I think she's just been chilling and waiting. When did she last fight?
Let me see. Let me see.
Yeah, and I think the Suarez Jandiroba fight was supposed to happen soon, if not already. So that title eliminator would have been maybe a better timeline for Weili, like fighting the winner of that fight within maybe 3 or 4 months. But because that fight got pushed back, now we have a title eliminator that's no longer going to happen in a good amount of time for Weili.
Yeah, so she last fought April 13th, 2024. She beat Jan in a decision. And then before that, August 19th, 2023, she beat Lemos by unanimous decision. And then Lemos I think she's ranked number 4. So there is just a bit of a logjam.
Yeah.
With the rankings. So you got to kind of just see who's next.
And I feel like Weili did take a lot of damage in the little bit she was on the feet with Lemos and in the fight with Zhang and Yan. So I think if anything, she's being smart about her head. She's been taking damage. She's been getting a little wobbled, like looking a little more vulnerable on the feet than she used to, which is why I think she's adopted like a really heavy grappling game plan in her recent fights because it's the safest route for your head. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's just comfortable having the time off, letting her head rest, seeing how the weight classes shake out, and then jumping in her once a year. She's probably comfortable financially too, fighting once a year. And I there's not a lot of movement right now in the strawweight division. Like everyone's kind of staying in place. So there isn't anyone that people are begging to have her fight aside from Tatiana Suarez, who is usually taking herself out of her own fights. So aside from Tatiana, no one's really like begging Weili to get in there against a certain contender. So that gives Weili a lot of time too, to rest, to chill, to if she's comfortable. She hasn't been talking like the other, like the Bellator champions and stuff, or when people usually want to fight, they get vocal about it, and she's just been hanging out,
she's
enjoying being a celebrity.
To the fights.
Yeah.
Doing fighter celebrity appearances. She's living it up. And honestly, she's earned that right. So you can't get mad at her for it, really.
Yeah, I think she's chilling. And I think the strawweight division doesn't need her to be active right now because there aren't any clear contenders right now. Unless she rematch Zhao and Yan. But that would seem like an odd thing to happen too, because the fight wasn't really close, and it was her last fight. And unless we have like a UFC China coming up, I don't see the incentive for the company to book something like that. So yeah, we'll see what shakes out. It really just depends on if Suarez is able to make it to the finish line, and if that happens before we get another UFC China. Yeah. But that would be like we talked about it before, that being a dope headline for an event in China, to have two Chinese women fight each other. Like, that'd be insane. If it works out, that might actually happen.
Yeah, and it could, and maybe that's what she's trying to wait for.
Yeah, Yan looked really good in her fight against Ricci, albeit a lower-ranked opponent. She still looked really solid. She looked improved. So yeah, I could see that happening if Suarez and Jandiroba took too long to come to fruition.
Definitely.
So professional we are. Maybe these whores do belong in the position that they are in.
I mean, we made our way here, and we're here. So
okay.
You go.
Question. You go.
Oh my God. There's just
so many.
There's so many. Oh my God.
What's the question you hate the most on there?
Red or white? Are you kidding me? Red.
Red or white? What?
Wine.
Oh.
Like, why would you even ask that? That's just upsetting.
Does she look like a summer girl?
No. There's a lot of like dating questions. Oh. Would I date a non-fighter?
Interesting.
Would I date someone who's long distance, out of state or out of the country?
Oh, are these all from the same person?
No, they're all from different people. I mean, they're all over here.
It's one guy with 5 accounts trying to figure out like what his chances are.
I know. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of that stuff. Are you single? Da, 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 da. What do you think about the pushback that Nina Drama is getting in the comments about not a TR? Oh,
not a TR. What's a TR?
I have no idea.
Oh, there's more to the question.
But it doesn't read it. I guess I can't read it. Sorry. That's a stupid one. Never mind.
Like a juicy question, but womp womp.
Best submissions for a beginner in BJJ to learn.
Ooh.
I feel like the easiest one would probably be a guillotine.
Yeah.
I feel like people are taught to get back to guard and close guard and lock up the guillotine a lot. I feel like that's probably the easiest one, and then like a rear naked choke. They teach a lot of guard retention when you first get into it. Guard retention, passing. Yeah, I feel like a guillotine would probably be the easiest one to learn.
Yeah, especially because most jiu-jitsu people don't know how to take down. So if they can't like get a good dump on the single leg and they're shooting with their head like that, it gives you the guillotine a lot. Like I think that's a good one for people who are starting to go live to do, especially if you're starting from your feet a lot, because that like awkward dance that a lot of people do in the beginning, the guillotine kind of sets you up for that. But what about when people pull guard asking for a friend? What do you think the best attack is for that?
Wait.
When someone pulls guard on you, what's the first thing you do?
Put your knee in the middle. So it's learning... It's learning to split the guard and not let them close around, and then from there, like posture and pass, or get down and grindy and pass. Because that is a big thing. People pull guard, people pull half guard, all those sorts of things. So it's just about like nullifying that attack, not letting them be where they obviously want to be.
Nice. So you knee them in the butthole.
Yes. It's their fault.
Hey.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's what you do. That's what you get for displaying your butthole. Someone keeps quoting me on that. I forget what I was talking about, but I said, how dare you display your butthole in front of me?
Man, people are really up in arms about your last post.
Yeah. Well, this was a long time ago that I said that. But I do talk about butts a lot, I guess. Because I'm more of a butt girl.
It's all right. Everybody has their thing.
They're just so funny to me.
The butthole or the butt?
Both of all of it.
All of it?
All of the butt.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
Okay, not one specific thing about the butt.
No, just the whole thing.
The whole?
Yeah,
the round hole?
All of it. I'm saying the encompassing.
Yeah, the butt is fascinating.
The orb. The aura of the butt. It's hard to get over.
I get it. Paulo Ornelas asked, feet fetish and why it's a thing, something, and why it's a thing, something of topic. I guess they're asking why foot fetishes are such a thing. You guys,
I feel like I had a stroke trying to.
So did I. That's why I repeated it.
Why it's a thing, something of a topic. Okay, I think it's like when you start to write a sentence and you're like, oh, I should word it this way, but you forget to take out the
I do that
extra
sometimes.
word. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do that too.
I do that.
Yeah, feet fetish and why it's something of a topic. You kind of researched this, right? Like the whole foot thing. Tell me, Professor Jess.
Hold on. Let's
Wikipedia. So I didn't really know about the feet fetish thing until I got into MMA and found out that every fighter that ever existed has a Wikipedia. And not a Wikipedia, a WikiFeet profile. And WikiFeet is just a collection of people's feet and celebrities' feet. But because fighters are always barefoot, then there's tons of photos. I've found fight photos I've never seen on WikiFeet.
Oh yeah, there were tons of like screenshots from the Ultimate Fighter. I'm like, where did these come from? I've never seen these before. So foot fetishism may be caused by the feet and the genitals occupying adjacent areas of the somatosensory cortex, possibly entailing some neutral crosstalk between the two. Neuroscientist V.S. Rachamdran proposed that an accidental link between these regions could explain the prevalence of foot fetishism. Sorry, there were some big words in there. I think I did pretty well.
You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there you go. The foot brain, the part that's in your brain that connects to your vajayjay and your balls and your wee wee are also right next door to the part that connects to your feet. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Plus the feet can make a hole.
God.
You know. It looks kind of like it looks very inviting to certain people.
I've never thought of a foot job as a thing.
It's a thing.
I've never thought of that.
It's a thing.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's always been kind of baffling to me, but it's really a thing. Like, it's probably one of the biggest fetishes out there.
I think it's the most common talked about. I mean, there's like little niche fetishes.
Maybe because it's pretty innocent. Like, it's just a foot. Just looking at a foot.
Yeah. What you do with that thing?
Yeah. It's the thing that you can talk about and people chuckle as opposed to something horrible like, I like to get my balls smashed between two pieces of glass. Like
well, I mean, I thought it was pretty innocent until
I like to get fucked by horses.
Yes.
You can't talk about that at the dinner table.
Yeah, I thought it was innocent too until like there's, deeper diving into first it's all like foot massages and oils and candle wax. And then it's like, hey, would you jerk off something with your foot, or could you like smush this with your foot, or could you like, there's just all sorts of different stuff that people get bored.
Yeah.
Even with their most favorite fetish, they get bored and they have to turn it into something less innocent.
Something horrible.
Something horrible and dark.
Yeah, I've never looked into it, but it definitely seems like a thing that's really run rampant, especially in MMA, because that's what we're doing. Like we're smashing people's faces with our feet, and we're stepping on things with our feet, and you're breaking people's limbs by wrapping your feet around them and doing stuff to them. So there's a lot to get off on, I guess. It's horrible.
So many possibilities.
I try not to think about it.
You're gonna be thinking about it for a little bit.
It's horrible. It's like, yeah, you don't want to think about those things. It's like when you post a cute picture, but you know your brother might see it. You're like, yeah, I'm just not gonna think about it. They know that happens every now and then. He's not gonna like that. It's gonna go, put some clothes on. That's my brother's reaction. The one brother. The other brother is like, ooh, that was cute.
The other brother's,
yeah.
He's fun.
He's more encouraging of my thoughtiness.
Yes.
My thought adventures.
Everybody needs that in the family.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Well, I did promise that I'd talk about the alien stuff a little bit.
Oh.
Do you know anything about my grandparents?
Yes.
What do you know? Tell me.
That your grandfather and his wife
Yes.
got abducted by aliens, and it was it's the case most talked about because it's the most proven to be like factual and real, and most people recognize it as true, whereas other people's stories don't necessarily have any kind of evidence that says they're true.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Look at you knowing about my family.
Yes.
Yeah. So a few people asked, and I think a lot of people who watch this show probably know because Joe Rogan posted about it when I went to do a show, but we didn't actually get to talk about it. But my grandfather is Barney Hill, and he was one of the most famous. Shit, I have allergies right now. It's gonna suck. But he was one of the most famous alien abductee stories from back in the 60s. And a lot of people say, oh, both of my grandparents. But Betty wasn't my grandmother. She was actually my grandfather's second wife. So my grandma would talk mad shit.
Oh,
about both of them, about the alien story.
Say?
She just swore up and down that it wasn't true. She was like, I think she was more like kind of bitter about the way things
she
went
wanted
down.
to get abducted too.
She wanted to abduct them. I think she did it, to be honest. Like she was like, I'm gonna fuck with them for fucking up my family. But yeah, my grandfather got abducted with Betty, with his wife, back in the 60s. And it was a weird case because they were both stand-up citizens in their community. My grandfather was a post worker. I forget what Betty did, but she had a good job. It's not like they needed money or attention, or they were trying to bring attention to themselves. They were also an interracial couple in the 60s, which was a big deal. Civil rights movement just happened. So they're together up north. So it's a little more like open to that type of thing, but it's still like looked weird upon. So there's always a theory that that's one of the reasons why they were abducted, because they were like, oh, the brown ones and the white ones don't usually hang out together in a car. Let's see what's going on. Let's get our UFO down here and see what's happening.
We need to study this.
Yes. We need to poke these things and see what makes them different from all the other ones that hate each other. So it was a really wild case because what happened was they were going up into the mountains to visit somewhere in New Hampshire, and as they were coming back down, they saw a light, and the light was going over the mountains and kind of zipping around. Like at first they thought, oh, it was probably like an airplane or something, but the way it was moving was really irregular. So Betty's like, oh my God, Barney, look at this. And the thing that made me believe it is that Barney, my grandfather, had a very black person reaction to this. He was like,
what is that?
she's like, hey, look at this weird thing in the sky. We should investigate. And he was like, nope. You know? He was like, nope, we are going to keep driving. We got 2 hours to get home. Like, we're good.
Damn white people and their curiosities.
Yo, like, I swear to God, if I get abducted, it's because I'm with you. Oh, what's that? What's that over there behind those trees? Let's check it out. It could be a hurt dog.
They need our help.
Jess. Damn you. So yeah, she kept looking, and then she made him pull over and check it out, and he got his binoculars out and he saw it, and he could see people in a ship. And he was calling them Chinamen. He said, oh, they looked like Chinamen, which in the 60s is what you called an Asian. So,
That's right.
So it was the 60s. It was what they said.
A different time.
It was a different time back then. He was very progressive. So he was like, oh, you know, they looked like they were Chinamen in trench coats, which I'm thinking means like they had like the slanted eyes, and they had like these he drew out a picture where they had like big heads and slanted eyes, and they were in these little like black suits, and this is all under hypnosis. Like they erased their memory of the entire incident after it happened. But at that point, he's looking at the binoculars. He sees the guys, and like this feeling of dread comes over him, where he's like, "Fuck!" He explained it like he felt like a rabbit getting like in the sights of a hunter. Like he felt like he was in danger, and I have to feel like that would be the most realistic reaction when you see something like that. Like you see something that you've never seen before, and obviously it has a better car than you because it's flying, you know. Like these guys are gonna fuck me up. And so he runs and gets back in the car, and they have their little dog with them, their little dachshund Mutnik with them, and they're back in the car and they're driving, and then all of a sudden the spaceship is on the road, and they see it on the road, like just bright lights. The car stops. Like he can't drive the car anymore, and Betty's still able to move around, probably because she's kind of into like what's happening. Like, oh man, this is exciting. But they paralyze my grandfather because he's just like, I gotta get out of here, and they paralyze him so that they're able to take him out of the car, and they take both of them onto the spaceship.
What about the dog?
I don't remember.
Is the dog okay?
I think the dog was fine for a little bit, but it ended up dying. But I think normal dog reasons. I don't think they didn't kill the dog.
I want to make sure it lived a long, happy, healthy life.
Probe it, or but yeah, the dog was still around afterwards, and yeah, so they took them into the spaceship and they did all these experiments on them. And the reason they knew something had happened afterwards was because like they saw scuffs on my grandfather's shoes, like on the top of his shoes, because he was dragged in. He had like a weird rash where they like took a sample from his genitals, and I was just like, ooh, that sucks. But he was assaulted by the aliens, and he had like a rash around his groin because of it. And then Betty, I forget what happened with her. She had like stains on her dress, and they gave her like a pregnancy test. And so they shoved something in her belly button or something like that. But they did all these weird experiments. And then they were really amused that my grandfather had dentures. So they were like playing with the teeth and stuff. Like, they totally violated him. Like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, So they put him back in the car, and like Betty is having a great time. She like, they showed her the universe that they were from, and they're like, oh, we're from this place, and then later on she was able to draw it under hypnosis, but then they actually like located a set of stars like years later that looked like where they said they were from. So yeah, there's all these little things that make people who believe in aliens really believe in that story. And of course, there's like a ton of reasons you could debunk any story about UFOs or aliens or whatever. But now that like that thing came out, the Blue Book thing where they released all the information about like, oh yeah, the Air Force has been recording UFOs and weird stuff in the sky for a long time, and we just didn't tell anyone because like
We were gaslighting you the whole time.
they were like, y'all are crazy. Look at the source.
You're insane.
Consider the source. They're all nut jobs. But my grandfather wasn't a nut job. He was like a reputable source who really didn't want to draw attention to himself, so that's what made his story more believable. So when they got back, they were having nightmares about what had happened. They didn't remember anything happening, but when they got back, they were like, yo, there was like 4 hours that that we can't remember. It was like Thanksgiving. Like, how's it 11 o'clock already? We got here at 3. What happened? I don't remember singing that much karaoke. But they got back, and there were 4 hours of missing time. And they kept having these nightmares, and the nightmares were kind of similar. So their friends were telling them, "Oh, you should try hypnosis because you can recall something like a repressed memory or something if that's what happened." So they both got hypnotized, and they came out with this crazy story of getting abducted. And they ended up, doing a bunch of interviews about it. They were on talk shows. The guy who did the hypnosis, he wrote a book. They ended up making like a movie about it later when James Earl Jones played my grandfather. So yeah, it's like a lot of random stuff happened after that where people just really held on to that story. And now whenever I'm watching like UFO TV series or something like that, a lot of times they reference that. Yeah, but like it was one of those things, like, you know how every year on TV, like the Christmas Story plays on TV. Like every year the Sci-Fi Channel would play the abduction story, and like my mom and like my dad and stuff would be like, "Oh, your grandfather's on TV," and then we go and watch it. But it's like one of those things that have always been a reality in my life. Like, it exists. Like it's a thing. Like aliens are out there, and I know because someone so close to our family got abducted.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like he died in the 70s, so I never got to meet him or anything, and I never got to meet Betty or her family either. But he seemed like a pretty cool guy, and aside from leaving my grandmother with 2 kids for a white woman, aside from that, he was a smooth talker. I feel like he was very charismatic and stuff. So like, yeah, I think that's probably another reason people were really into the story, because when he did open up, like he could captivate a crowd.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been cool to meet him or meet her, her family or whatever. But we've always known like this is a thing, and kind of it's been like that story. The family story.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cooler than any of my family stories.
I mean, now you can say you're a UFC fighter.
I did in a video game.
I did UFC. Yeah, I'm in a video game. That's gonna be our stories. Like, where nobody's even gonna remember Barney Hill. They're gonna know about Grandma used to fight people for money
in a cage with their bare hands.
Yeah,
Freaking cool. It's crazy how much hypnosis is referenced in a lot of stuff, and how it was debunked that it was a useful form of psychology, or it wasn't legit. But there's like a lot of stuff about repressed memories of aliens, about past live regression. Like there's so many things that it's been used for, and people just don't want to give it credit.
Why do you think that is? Is it just like the power of suggestion?
Yeah, so people think that it's not legit because you can impress the story upon somebody, because there have been instances where it was used in cases of abuse, say.
Oh, and they're like, how are you abused? You're just like,
Yeah, and so they're
trying to find an answer.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough, I don't know. I guess they just didn't think it was legit because people can have memories impressed upon them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
but
you.
I think that, I mean, I've done hypnotherapy before, and I thought it was very useful. And I didn't feel like I was having somebody like guide me or lead me into a story that wasn't true. It was just helping me like dig really deep.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've never tried it, but somebody mentioned that it's a thing that some athletes do in order to, I don't know, just like believe in yourself or get to that and have like a trigger where you're like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And you go, you don't freeze in there. So
I mean, you do, in a way, you do have to be suggestible. So that's why it's also controversial.
yeah, it won't work on everyone.
Yeah.
Interesting. You
Yes.
can also pretend you're being hypnotized and then just like lie through your teeth.
It's like, have you ever seen those people up on stage, like in Las Vegas or something like that? Or you see like videos of people that are like clucking like chickens and doing all sorts of weird stuff. Like you have to, I guess you just have to be suggestible. You have to like really want it to happen.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people are like, well, you're clearly faking it. So it's just always been a controversial tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think with this story, I'm always in two minds about it. Like I'm like, well, you know, maybe he was like a smooth talker and he was just good at painting a picture and this kind of thing. Or maybe Betty was very suggestible and he went along with it because she was kind of into the idea. Or, you know, there's a lot of parts that you could doubt about the story, but the fact that all of it happened and just the reaction seems so realistic. And if you ever listen, like I think you could find a YouTube video of like the actual hypnosis tapes where you can hear my grandfather's and Betty's voice as they're going through what happened to him. And when I first heard the grandfather one, that was when it became most real to me. Like the fear that you see people in movies and stuff, it sounded nothing like the fear in his voice in this hypnosis. Like it sounded eerie, like scary. Like he sounded like a scared child, you know, like it. And this is a grown man talking about his experience and how terrified he was, and yeah, that just like sent chills through my spine. I'm like, he is terrified right now, reliving this moment. So I feel like that was when it became like real to me. Like, damn, it would be hard to fake that, you know. And he could have. You know, he definitely could have, but like to hear that for the first time, I was like, damn, now I know why this story is so popular, because that, like, I would be terrified if I lived anywhere close to where this happened, if I like knew anyone who it happened to, because that, like, I don't want to feel that fear that that I could hear in his voice at that moment. So it was like really creepy. You should listen to. I'll send you a link if I can find it. Yeah, it's really creepy.
There was another. It was an audiobook that I was listening to, and they used they did a lot of past life regression through hypnotherapy. And there's and I don't have my phone with me, so I can't like cite everything, but it was kind of crazy and undeniable to me, in my mind, and to a lot of people, about these past life experiences, because this psychiatrist or psychologist used hypnotherapy. He interviewed so many thousands of people, and they would all mention like the same names. They would all like reference these like very specific things, and he's like, across the board, like all these people can't be making it up. Yeah. So like I believe that it is like a useful tool. Of course, you can, you know, use it in a way and manipulate, but it's just kind of crazy. I just really believe that there's other things out there.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We don't know. we don't know shit, man. It's like we know a good amount, but it's still just scratching the surface of what's really making everything tick and work together. And yeah, like just the fact that they recently released all the government articles about it makes it legitimizes it. You know what I mean? It makes you finally think, okay, now we're getting somewhere with the public actually knowing what's going on in the sky and what like the government is actually afraid of. And there's presidents there's presidents who have quoted like, hey, like there's UFOs out there, so I mean we're about to like launch Project SpaceX or whatever it's called, so it's like there's definitely information that the public isn't hip to, that the presidents and the world leaders are, that might make them a little worried about what's out there in space. So yeah, it's freaky. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like thinking about it at all. I had my first sleep paralysis demon after doing a ton of research on it for like a school project. I did a ton of research on my grandfather's abduction for a school project. And then literally like that month, I saw an alien staring at me from the door and I could not get up. And
that's another thing. Like everybody reports seeing and experiencing the same thing, the same figure.
Yeah.
If you go back into, there's a certain like folklore, and they're referred to as the jinn. And those are like the sleep demons, like the paralysis monsters. But yeah, it's like how can we all experience the same thing and have the same stories?
Yeah. There's like hieroglyphics of fucking UFOs and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just the aliens guy. Like, I don't remember where I saw it, but I feel like I've seen it before. But yeah, everyone has that sleep paralysis demon that looks the same. It's just a figure that's at the doorway that won't do anything, but you feel terrified about it being there. And it sounds like the same description that my grandfather gave when he was looking through the binoculars at the figures in the sky. Yeah. Like, ooh, gotta get the fuck out of here, So it's scary. It's scary to think about it too long. And that's why we won't.
You guys that are going to be listening to this before bed, I hope you have sweet dreams.
Sorry. Don't wake up too fast or you might see the old alien coming at you. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good note to end it on. But, guys, we have T-shirts for sale.
Oh, yes, we do.
So make sure to click that link.
Show them, baby. Show them what we're working with. Yeah.
Move the mic out of the way.
Coffee.
So make sure you click that link to get a little 2-straw shirt to support the pod. Also, if you want to get members only content, make sure you join. Once we get to 30 members, we're going to start really pumping out the content. So hit that join button so we can give you something to look at. And if you want to listen to us instead of watch us, which why would you? Maybe because the legs aren't back.
I know, they're still waiting for it. Still waiting for it.
It's still waiting. When the legs are back, I guess you'll watch too. But if you just want to listen to us, make sure to check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And what else? Yeah.
And tell your friends.
Tell your friends about us. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from you guys. You guys aren't just calling us whores.
Yeah. And shaming us for being women. We can't help it. But we do really appreciate your support. So please keep, spreading the word. And the bigger we get, the more we can give back to you guys.
Yeah, and we will.
And we really appreciate just all of your comments, interactions. It really inspires us to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you after UFC 310. Maybe we'll be able to do an immediate reaction.
Oh, yes. I'll be doing an immediate reaction from Vegas.
Oh, you going to the show? Let's go. Yes. All right. Well, we will see you next time. It's been another 2-straw.